Hi guys, this is Ravenclaw with If. Welcome back to another What If story. Yeah, I was able to get this script done in a fairly fast pace. It only took me pretty much a day to really get this done. I got the script majority done last night. I just added a couple new things to the script to make it a full part. So let's just get right into this story, shall we? Inko finally got back to the location. As Inko walked in the old abandoned cottage, still carrying her son in her arms. Misty told Inko the hidden passageway in case of emergencies. The cottage is under a very powerful illusion spell. Inko walked up to the black cat statue and placed her hand on top of his head and said some incantations. After the incantations was completed, the illusion spell temporarily deactivated. A hidden, sorry, a hidden inner doorway appeared in the room leading downstairs. Unlike the cottage that is mostly made of wood, the stairway was made of stone as torches decorated the walls of the stairway. When Inko got to the end of the stairway led to a large room, which the only thing in there was a huge mirror. Inko cut a bit of her skin on her finger using her teeth and drawed some sort of symbol made of blood on the mirror. As the mirror starts to glow bright purple, as she steps through it with her son in her arms, barely clinching to life. As she exits the mirror, she found herself in a old ruin. As Inko sees several witches and warlocks scattered all around the ruins, keeping to their business, not paying much attention to Inko. The only ones that took notice of Inko's presence was a couple of the witches. The moment they saw the extremely hurt boy in her arms, several witches guide Inko to a spare room. As several witches ask what happened to the young man, as she explains what happened while they place the boy on a bed, as they immediately start to begin trying to heal Izuku from his injuries. Several of the witches that was with the with the group storm off to inform the head witch of the current situation that they refer to as the grandmother. Several minutes later, Misty came running in the room with a panicked expression to see her little boy so injured. How did this happen, Inko? Who did this? Who dared to hurt my boy? Calm down, dear. I don't know who he was. He wore a suit with some sort of black helmet. He said something about the witches in the Covenant decline his offer to join his side. I know one thing for sure is I'm going to kill him. I'll talk I'll talk with the grandmother. You're right on one thing. Whoever's responsible for hurting my little boy, their death is too good for them. I'll make them suffer. Misky walked up to one of the witches that wasn't healing her son. As she simply asked what's his condition. The young man is out of danger for now. The healing is taking longer than I thought it would. It might be because of he's a fallen angel. I want him to be bedridden for a couple weeks, just to be safe, under our watch. to make sure there weren't any complications. Good. Thanks for thanks for this. And inform me if his condition changes in any way. Understood. As much as I would love to stay with my little guy during his recovery, I have to inform the grandmother. We'll talk later, Inko. Don't worry, I won't leave our son's side. Back in the chamber, the grandmother, witch, is sitting on her chair and progressing with the council meeting with the rest of the heads of the witch families. That is part of her covenant. As she noticed Inko walk into the room, immediately she could tell she wasn't happy. What's the situation? Judging by your facial expression, it's not good. Inko and my son were attacked back at the house by a man wearing a suit with a black helmet. I still don't know. I still don't know. Heard that wrong. I should have known better. I knew he would not take my rejection very well. Listen, listen carefully, everyone. Evacuate all your families and bring him here for safety. All the head of the witch's family are asking what's going on. I was approached by several months ago by a villain named All for One. He pretty much demanded our alliance with him. As your leader, I refuse. Whatever that villain has planned, it's nothing good, and I will not allow our and I will not allow us to be dragged into another witch trial situation. I have kept the general population unaware of our existence, and I tended to keep it that way. How's the boy's condition going, Misky? I hope he wasn't hurt too badly. What I was told, he was heavily damaged. He was nearly killed, according to what the witches that were healing my son said. Luckily, he's out of danger for now. That's good. I've never met the boy. I'm glad he wasn't killed. You're free to return to your son. Meeting adjourned. I recommend you all evacuate all your families and bring him here. Once that's done, once that's done, get everyone situated here, and I'll inform everyone on our next step. What's it's going to our next step and what's our next action is going to be taken. Ah, as we time skip several hours, as all the family of the sorry, as all the family of the witches successfully were evacuated to the Covenant HQ, as everyone's getting situated in the chambers, Izuku is still unconscious. The moment Jiro heard that Izuku was injured, she was by his side with a worried expression on her face. Even Katsuki would check up on Izuku. She was beginning to worry after being unconscious for 5 days straight. While Izuku was unconscious, between Inko, Mitsuki, Katsuki, and Jiro, he was never left unattended. They would shift periodically between the four of them. So, so if Izuku regained consciousness, one of them would be there when he got up. It officially has been almost 2 months there. There hasn't been a change to Izuku's condition. Izuku finally regained consciousness. His body was fully recovered from being stabbed by his own light spear. When he opened his eyes, he sees Inko on the couch that was in the room, fast asleep, with a book in her hands. It seems that she fell asleep reading. Izuku took the book from her hands and closed it and sat the book on the couch. and took the spare blanket that was on the cushion of the couch right next to Inko and wrapped the blanket around his mother, to make sure that she was nice and warm. The temperature in this room was quite cold. Izuku stretched out his body, then sat on the couch, picked up the book that his mom was reading, and began reading. Moments later, he noticed his mom was resting her head on his shoulder, as he simply ignored it and continued reading the fantasy novel. His mother has always been a sucker for fantasy stories, and he won't admit it to his mother, but he quite enjoys a good fantasy novel. 20 minutes later, he noticed his mom got up from his shoulder and opened her eyes. As her eyes widened, when she looked over to the right of her, seeing her son moving about or awaken. As she embraces her son in a huge hug, thank goodness you're all right. You had me worried. You had me so worried. You're being very affectionate today, Mom. Well, it's not every day you see your son get stabbed by his own light spear. Yeah, that's something I do not want to repeat. So do you have any idea where that bastard is? Or who he was? Some kind of villain that goes by all for one, apparently. What I what I've been told. He's able to take away quirks from the humans and give it out. But beyond that, I have no idea. Where are we anyways, Mom? I don't recognize this place. HQ of the witches. The lead the lead witch that goes by the name Grandmother has evacuated all the witches and their families in case of All for One attacks any of the other Witches families. All the witches are on edge right now. How are you feeling? I'm feeling I'm feeling all right, Mom. Just stiff. That's good. I want you to take it easy for the next couple weeks. Then when I find then when I find you are fully recovered, I think it's about time I start your training in lightning magic, eventually moving you up to holy lightning. Really? The last time I asked for you to teach me lightning magic, you said I wasn't ready. Regardless if you're ready or not, you need to have access to other magics besides your light creation. All the training I put you through so you can use your lightning magic. I believe you have a large enough magic reserves to have access to lightning magic, and your body should be able to handle it now. Then once that's done, I believe it's time for me and you to have a mother and son bonding time and put a light spear through that bastard's skull. And the first time in my life, we are on the same page. I can agree on that. That Darth Vader reject needs to die. Inko smiled lovingly at her son. I'll be back. I need to inform the rest of the family that you're up. But keep what we're planning to between the two of us. Misk and your sister won't understand. Those two are too soft. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're family, but they're still only human. You know, Mother, finding them won't be easy. I'm fully aware of that, son. The general population will most likely label us as vigilantes, if the heroes catch on what we're doing. After a touching family reunion with his other mother and his sister, and Jiro did come by to see him. A few weeks later, Izuku began his magic training under the tutelage of his mother. As several months has passed, he continued his schooling online for the time being, so did his sister. Over the months, he learned several lightning spells, then learned Holy Lightning. He has nowhere near mastered it, like his mother, but he learned enough to use it in combat. It's going to be several years before he could fully master it. Inko and Izuku left the sanctuary of the witches and used the excuse of taking a road trip with her son for son and mother bonding, just the two of them, to keep his sister and his other mother out of it, so they don't catch on what they're planning to do. As the son and mother duo stalk several low tier villains, and where they go to their base of operation. Inko knows these villains have no connection to All for One, but that's not what she's after. She's going to make an example of these villains and send All for One a message. If the duo kill enough of these villains, it's only a matter of time before All for One take notice of their actions. Inko and Izuku are hovering in the air above the abandoned building that the villains made their HQ. What's the plan, Mom? Kill everyone inside. Then we'll hit our next target. If we kill enough of them, we'll eventually flush him out. Or come across some information where the bastard's holding up. Let's see where the night take us, son. Once we fly through the window, get your light weapon ready and then eliminate everyone inside. Understood, Mom. Here, put this on. As Inko handed Izuku a raven plague mask to complement their black wings, as the two of them put on the raven mask, and both of them are wearing a black hooded robe with the black plague raven mask, giving them a ominous feeling or ominous look. This is basically what the mask looks like, but the white is black instead of the white part is black instead of white. I just couldn't find a good picture online, so that's pretty much what they look like with the robes and everything. Izuku created a green light sphere and threw it at the generator outside of the abandoned building, cutting all the power to the building. As both of them fly through the window, as glass shatter everywhere inside of the building, as they both create light spears and begin to throw them at the humans in the room, piercing all of them through the chest. The villains were dead before they even know what was going on. The only thing left that they were there was several feathers from their wings scattered all across the room. As they left the dead in the dead of night, as they went on a killing spree, sorry, as they went on a villain killing spree the whole night, they managed to kill 10 low-tier villain groups in one night. In each scene, the only thing they left besides the dead villains were black feathers. Despite their cloak and dagger movements, Eraserhead caught on that someone's been targeting low-tier villains and eliminating them. As an underground hero that operates at night, he came across the handiwork of the two fallen angels. In each scene, he came upon the only evidence that was left was several black feathers scattered all around the crime scene. Eraserhead was forced to ask for help tracking down these vigilantes. He suspected that they weren't villains, but he couldn't rule it out. He is unsure of the motives. He's still unaware that the new player in town actually are two people. Eraserhead asked help from Midnight. Unfortunately, President Mike was unable to help because he was working on a case currently. Eraserhead is in his civilian clothes, waiting in the bar for Midnight. As Midnight walks into the bar, as she sees Ozawa, as she greets him in her civilian clothes, she's not in her hero gear. As she walks up to the stool, as she sits off the side of Eraserhead. So what's the situation? Thanks for showing up. Appar- apparently, there's there's a sorry. Apparently, a group of low-tier villains has been targeted and killed. I know at least of five of them. Sorry, I know of at least five of small villain groups were targeted and killed. I expect there's a lot more. Do we have vigilant? Do we have a vigilante on our hands or a villain with a grudge? Ozawa. It's still unclear. There's not a there's not a clear motive sorry, behind attacking villains and killing them off. Simply just can't come up with a motive yet. There's not enough evidence. So do you think it's only one person doing this or a group? It's still unclear. So what's the game plan, Azawa? I located a group of low-tier villains that hasn't been hit yet. I'm going to stake it out tonight. I could use some help if he or she shows up. And there's still no guarantee that he or she will actually show up tonight. Did you find any evidence at the scene of the crime? Sorry. The only thing, sorry. As he pulled out a black feather out of his jacket pocket and handed it over to Midnight, as that was the only thing he found at the crime scene. Oh, sorry, each crime scene. Do you have any idea what type of quirk he or she possess? I still haven't figured that out yet. Could be possible whoever is responsible for this Midnight have a similar quirk to Hawks. If that is true, that makes our job a whole lot harder. Hard to arrest someone if they could fly away. I agree. If they're able to fly, it'll be hard to chase them down. Meet me here later tonight. As Eraserhead hand over a piece of paper with the address on it for their meetup. As we cut back to our favorite fallen angels at the hotel in Hosu City, Izuku is lounging around the hotel room while his mother is talking to Mitsuki, making sure she doesn't get suspicious. She's still at the Covenant HQ. All the witches are still laying low to make sure none of their people are getting targeted by All for One. The witches are beginning the witches are beginning the talks with several werewolf clans around Japan, or packs, basically. All for One did not just visit the witches, he visits several werewolf packs as well. Like the witches, the werewolves declined his offer. And when it came to the vampires, they don't want anything to do with All for One. They've been they've been quiet, keeping to themselves. Inko finally got off the phone with Misky. They officially been on this villain hunt for about 4 weeks. So she tried to call her once in a while so she doesn't get suspicious. While all while all for one's on the loose, none of the witches are safe. All for one seems pretty motivated to kill the witches, as Inko wants to return to her normal life as soon as possible, but at the same time she's enjoying herself. She's enjoying herself with her son on this villain hunt. As they started to develop a closer bond with each other. All right, son, we're in the clear for now. You should rest up. We'll be hitting some smaller groups of villains, then we are going to hit a bigger target. What do you mean bigger target, Mom? The word around the street, the number one villain from America, will be entering Japan tonight. If we manage to pull this off, son, we'll definitely be noticed. By heroes and villains alike. I know that look, Mom. What are you plotting? We need to make an example of this villain. We must do it very brutally this time. And the time for us sticking to the shadows is over. The heroes will definitely take notice if they haven't already. That's why I want you to kill him yourself. I don't mind killing him, but why? I'll be staying in the shadows just in case the heroes show up, and I'll deal with them. If if that happens, we need to have a exit strategy, just in case. The last thing we need is the heroes on us, and we're not going to kill heroes. If we kill one of them, the whole organization will be on our ass. That's the last thing we need. I see. So you'll be keeping them busy while I finish off our target. Quite clever. Exactly, my boy. Divide and conquer, my son. I wasn't once called a seraph for anything, my son. Do we have a location where the big game's going to be at? Apparently, he'll be heading towards a meeting with a group that called themselves the League of Villains. I want you to interrupt him before he gets there. He's coming in a private jet. He should be arriving at the airport at 10 o'clock tonight. That gives us plenty of time to get rid of the small fry before we go after the main course. Like I said, son, why don't you get some rest? We'll be leaving here at 8 o'clock sharp. We need to finish off the small group of villains before 10 o'clock. We're going to have to split up. There's two small tier villain groups that that we're going to hit. Then we'll meet up and sorry. Then we'll meet up after we deal with a small fry. Well, understood, Mom. We time skipped later that night. Izuku and Inko split up to take up to take out the two separate groups of the low tier villains. Surprisingly, his targets are fighting some low tier heroes in the alleyway. While in the air, he shot out several feathers from his wings towards the villains, killing them in a wave of feathery death. Basically, wave of feathers of death, killing the villains and injuring a couple of the heroes. As Izuku made his way to the meetup point with his mother. Like Izuku, Inko took care of her targets with ease, killing them brutally, leaving a bloody mess. As he's waiting for his mother to arrive, it's already 9:30 p.m. as she flew down next to her son on top of a building. Sorry I'm late. I'll have it in. Sorry. I had a little too much fun with my targets. Have you been waiting long? No, I've only been here for about 10 minutes. The stage is all yours, my son. I know the plan, Mom. Shouldn't we hit this League of Villains organization? No, not yet. I need to gather some information on them before I could come up with a strategy plan. We don't know how many villains that are in this group of what they call the League of Villains. There's still a lot of unknown factors in play, and I don't like unknowns. Understood, Mom. Once we get more information on this group, we'll definitely hit them as well. It just might take a little more time before we could actually attack, before we actually could hit them. It's showtime. I see the private jet just landed. Meet me at the nearby park after the target's dead. Alright, I'll see you soon, Mom. Good luck, dear. Thanks. As Izuku put on his mask, as he takes flight, Izuku sees the number one villain from America get out of the private jet and get into a limousine as the vehicle drives to the meetup point where the League of Villains plan to meet him. As Izuku dived downwards when he saw the vehicle enter the alleyway, as he plunged a light spear through the car engine, immediately afterwards he ripped the driver door off the hinges and gave the driver a nice little shock, leaving the driver unconscious. After all, the driver is a innocent in all this. At least that's what he expects. Izuku didn't want to hurt innocent civilians. The driver isn't his target. The villain gets out of the back seat of the car, noticing the entertainment outside of the vehicle. I have no idea who you are or why you're after me, but no matter. I guess I could play with you a little bit. Show me what you got. Izuku moves so fast that Izuku moved so fast that he flash stepped in front of the villain as he elbowed him in the face as he goes flying against the wall. The villain wiped the blood from his mouth and got up as he starts to shoot out. As he shoots out several bone spikes out of his hand. As Izuku reflects the bone spikes using his wings to shield himself from getting damage from the attack. Immediately afterwards, shooting out several feathers from his wings towards the villain. As the villain gets cut through the flesh. As the villain starts to breathe in heavy. You're not bad, my winged friend. Before the villain could react to Izuku's next move, a magical circle appeared in the sky as holy lightning strikes the villain down, severely injuring him. As the young fall angel slowly walked up to the villain, to the severe injured villain, picked him up by the hair and threw him against the wall and threw several light spears. As the light spears go through the man's hands and legs, pinning him to the wall. As he creates another light spear and plunge it through the man's heart, killing him instantly. Afterwards, the light spear disappeared in the man's chest, in the arms and legs, basically. As he creates a light sword and removes his head from his body, there were several witnesses to the battle, as Inko was fighting several pro heroes. Eraserhead and Midnight were with several heroes fighting Inko. They were among them. Yeah, basically. Razorhead threw his scarf out to try to capture Inko while she was. I wasn't sure what that meant, but I'm the one who wrote the script, so I said no. But anyways, while Inko was grounded, Inko simply used her light weapon to cut through right through the scarf. Razorhead was quite surprised by the action as Midnight was approaching from behind her. Before Midnight could use her quirk to subdue Inko, a green light spear pierced the ground between Inko and Midnight, as everyone sees a figure hovering in the air with the same outfit that they're fighting with the other opponent. As the masked and hooded woman finally speaks up, I see our little dance is over, heroes. This is where we say our goodbyes. Before the heroes could do anything else, Inko released a burst of electricity at a nearby car. As the car explodes, as Inko took flight, when the heroes recovered, Midnight and Eraserhead tried their best to trail them down, but unfortunately, they lost track of them. Damn it, they got away. I wasn't expecting to be another one. And I was even more surprised that they had the same quirk. They have to be related in some way. Before Eraserhead could say anything else, a police cruiser stops right next to them and informed them they found a nearby body in the alleyway. The officer believes that the dead corpse has something to do with this new group of vigilantes that made himself known tonight. What got the officer a little unnerved, the body they found is missing its head. Its head is nowhere near the crime scene. It seems like someone took it with them after they killed them. While flying, Inko flew right next to her son. Where are you heading, Izuku? Their meeting place. He was probably not the only villain being recruited. Take a look at this. As he hands over the villain's phone, and she reads through several text messages on the text message. Sorry, on the text message, as it was the location where they're supposed to meet with the League of Villains to the meetup point. Apparently, it's supposed to be some sort of massive recruitment. I see. That's what your plan is. You plan to kill all the villains before the members of the League of Villains show up. Very well, dear. I'll follow your lead. Izuku and Inko arrive at the abandoned warehouse where the League of Villains are using for their recruitment. Fortunately for Izuku, the League of Villains recruiter hasn't arrived yet. The moment Izuku entered the abandoned warehouse, Inko cast a barrier around the warehouse. Inko waited outside just in case someone broke through the barrier. She highly doubt anyone in this dimension could do so. She wanted to be sure, just in case someone actually managed to break through her barrier, so her son doesn't get surprised or a surprise attack on him. She doesn't want to see her son hurt in any way, unless she's doing it for training purposes, of course. Izuku walked into the warehouse and shut the door behind him while wearing his disguise. It didn't take the villains long to notice his presence. Without even saying hello to the humans, he ignited the whole warehouse room with lightning and light spears, massacring the villains. They they did fight back, but it was futile. As the room was scattered with dead bodies everywhere, before he left, He placed the head of the #1 villain from America in the middle of the room. He calmly left the warehouse to join his mother outside as they both flew out in the distance to go back to the hotel room. 5 minutes later, a black portal opens up as Gary and a woman with hands all over her body stepped out throughout a portal. They were expecting to see several promising recruits, including the #1 villain from America. Instead, what they got was several dead bodies and a severed head in the middle of the room. What the hell is this? Why are they all dead? Can you explain to me why they're all dead, Gary? I don't know, young mistress. I can't use these pawns if they're already dead, Gary. Who the hell... Sorry, give me a second here, guys. Who the hell is this? As she used a couple of her fingers to pick up the severed head of the #1 villain from America. She never met the man, but Gary has. He was the one. He was the one who got the villain from America to agree to join their little league of villains. Oh dear, Master won't be happy. Apparently that is the #1 villain from America, young mistress. So you're telling me we lost all our pawns and the big shot from America in one fucking day? Open the portal back to the bar. Next time, it's best to keep the recruits alive, not dead. You got me, you stupid Nomu. Maybe I should recruit whoever did this. I'll find him regardless. Clearly, you can't even complete a simple fucking task. Goddamn useless tool. Understood, young mistress. As they both leave to go back to the bar, that's where we're going to leave it off. Hope you guys have a good night and day during my time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.